Well, good morning, everybody. This is Gulf Harbour Radio, and I have decided to start the net, even though I haven't heard anybody, but who knows, you might be out there. It is a miserable day again here at Gulf Harbour. This is Patricia and David. We have got 100% cloud cover, rain on and off. Not very cold, however. It's just gone up to 15. I know that you will think that that is cold. But 15 degrees, we think it's actually quite warm after the winter. What we should do is go up to Opua and rent out our blankets, because we're taking them off and you'll probably be putting them on. But anyway, 4 knots from the west, 1014.6 and steady on the bar. Well, we have had a lot of emails come in this morning, a little bit late to get much detail back to you on them. If you send them in at night time, anything after 8 o'clock we ignore, because we are actually trying to sort of relax at about that time. We have quite a few reports in from people though. Good morning to all you folk at North Minerva, Pakaleloa, Taranui. Thank you for your report. 15 to 20 knots from the east there. About 30% cloud cover, bit of chop inside with that breeze. Quite a few left yesterday, which is good because it will spread yourselves out a bit. 1014 on the bar. Denarau, good morning, Glenn. Thank you. Malachite report 80% cloud cover. 4 knots just south of east there. 1009. Marilyn, you guys look as if you're almost home, and I suspect you're going to go straight through to Tauranga. They are at 3343 and 17248 east. So based on that longitude and the fact that they've got north-northeast 10, 100% cloud, of course, I suspect they're going to just zero in on home. Well done, you guys. Joy of Shamrock further up the track there, 24 and well, almost 179 west. East-northeast 18. Good directions people have got. East-northeast 18 up there at 24 and 17849 west, with a 2-metre swell from the southeast, 40% cloud cover. Alchemy 2. Well, your wind is a bit further south than expected. They're at 2511 on their way to Bundaberg, 16135. Might have got the Bundaberg destination wrong. The wind is 10 knots from 170 degrees, almost southerly, less than 1 metre swell, 1020. And Serenity of Swanwick, they are at 3146 and 17213 east, northwest 10. Front's gone through, 1018, calm seas, only 227 miles to Opua. Quite a few arrived in Opua yesterday. Well done to Lupan, Counting Stars, amongst others. Mezzaluna and Bla Elinor arrived in Bundaberg. Local talent will arrive Opua today around lunchtime. And of course, many of you are interested in the trough, which David will discuss. Depending on where you are, will depend on what happens. But of course, there is that trough in between the two highs. Some of you have been a little bit impatient to get going. Anyway, we'll talk about the trough. If your email has just come in this morning and it's a detailed one, I am afraid that we won't be able to get onto that because there's just not enough time. David leaves the morning for looking at all the models. There's about a dozen of them, so he really can't be getting into the detail of a very long, complicated email at the same time. So just bear that in mind, folks. Probably a good idea to get those complicated questions in somewhat earlier, then we can have a time to do them justice. Okay, is there anybody out there who wants to give a report? Just had one in from Shimata. Thanks, John. Ilo Metra, 1017, light winds, scattered clouds. I have to say that, boy, lately New Caledonia is having the best of the weather. I don't know what it's like further up the track there for Y2K and Mr. Troy, but it certainly looks the best of the bunch. Nice gap of just scattered cloud there, so enjoy it. And I would imagine the water is warming up a bit. Is there anybody on air to give us a report? I think there is somebody there, but I will need a relay. Well, I know there is someone there. Maybe we should wait 10 minutes or so. I will need a report from you guys about the timing of all of this. We had a couple of reports that we needed to get David's weather started early, which is what we do now just after the top of the hour. And he has a lot of weather to talk about today. So that's what we're doing. But if that's not working out, depending on where you are, please let us know. And I do appreciate the relays, something that helps us to get things moving along. Certainly will help you. Okay, I am going to do a bit of weather and then I will call again. Bogota, Colombia. We don't often talk about Colombia. We actually enjoyed our time in Colombia when we were cruising, but they have made history by electing a woman mayor, Claudia Lopez, 49. She's part of the Green Alliance Party. After the presidency, the mayor of Bogota is the most influential political person in Colombia. It's a very interesting one because she's also openly gay. So being a woman, openly gay, and being the mayor of the largest city there is absolutely quite amazing for the Colombians. Most of South America is in a bit of turmoil at the moment politically. Chile, Argentina, Colombia, Venezuela, they're all suffering civil unrest for one reason or another. So that will be an interesting situation there. In Argentina, they have elected Alberto Fernandez with his sidekick, Cristina Fernandez de Kirchner, who those of you who are interested in that region will recognise her. They won a decisive victory over the Conservative incumbent. They do have they've inherited a very big fiscal problem there. The country's reserves are in a disastrous state, and they have now made a new rule that you can only take out $200 from a bank account if you purchase something. It used to be $10,000. Boy, if that happened in New Zealand, you wouldn't hardly be able to buy anything, would you? Mm-hmm. But anyway, that's changes in Argentina as well. There was more detail given about the death of Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, the rotter that ISIS leader. I mean, even Al-Qaeda thought he was too extreme. And he died after running into a one-way tunnel where he detonated an explosive vest, killing himself and 3 of his children. He has 11 others, so I suppose he just decided that that wasn't a big loss. They certainly know how to breed over there. Mr. Trump thanked Turkey, Syria, Iraq, Russia and the Syrian Kurds for their cooperation because it was a rather daring nighttime airborne raid by special ops, and they helicoptered over areas that were under control of one of those countries, so having their cooperation was very good. He didn't have any cooperation from the Democrats in America because he didn't tell them. He decided that they were trustworthy, and so he didn't tell them, which has upset Mrs. Pelosi rather hugely. But anyway, they've had this guy under surveillance for a few weeks, and that was a good end to it all. In Barcelona, there were, David's just chuckling here, Barcelona, they've had a big rally to call for Spanish unity, which is rather nice to counteract the Catalonians who want to separate themselves off. China, they're in the middle now of a 4-day secret powwow. It's called a plenum. They have these every so often, and they all end up agreeing. They didn't have one last year because I think they said that they didn't look as if they were going to all agree. There's 370 people on their central committee, and they lock themselves away to set major policy for the next few years. They do have a very long-term plan, and no doubt that they will be dealing with some of the problems they've got at the moment, like the situation in Hong Kong and the trade war with the USA. So that's what they're going to be doing. They lock themselves away. I don't know who does all the cleaning and feeding and that sort of stuff, but anyway, they lock themselves away until they can come out with a unified plan. They actually do quite well with their long-term planning. I mean, if you look at every country in the world, probably with the exclusion of the Russia area and the Stans countries, they have sent out millions of people to infiltrate the rest of the world. So when they want to do something, I don't think it's all that difficult to do with all of the people that they've got all around the place. Anyway, enough of that. This one here, I just groaned, and you will groan too. The world really has gone quite berserk. The University of Oxford Student Union has decided that clapping could possibly trigger anxiety. And so they've decided to use what they call jazz hands. This is when you wave your hands quietly in the air, and that is your signal for something that's good, I suppose. Holy Moses, I don't know why I told you that. I'm talking about Britain, and this is absolutely the last time you will hear any mention of Brexit on Gulf Harbour Radio. The EU has granted Britain an extension for Brexit to the end of January 31. So this is absolutely the last time I'm going to speak about Brexit.
Thank the Lord.
Thank the Lord.
Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord, says David. And you're going to wave your hands in the air? Don't
yeah,
clap.
I'll wave it in the air.
Yeah,
Right?
He's only got one finger up, folks. All right. So, is there anybody wanting to give us a report? Please call now. Well, I think there's somebody there. Is there any relay? Well, I don't think there is anybody listening. But anyway, we'll carry on here. Andiamo are in Vianney Bay, 100% clouds there. Yes, it doesn't look all that great on the satellite picture. Heavy rain overnight and probably more today. Oh, goodness gracious me. And Denarau.
Called a trough.
It's called a trough. It's called a trough. Oh, thank you very much for that. Well, it's Denarau. It's 1,100% cloud cover. Thank you, John. It really is cloud cover. The wind is almost nil. Yep, some boats are leaving today, but not them. They don't like headwinds. They're a bit like chameleon. Savu, 100% cloud cover there. No rain. Good morning to Scoots. And Gallup, good morning, you guys. And Mustic Cove, they're always good at reporting. Southeast 4 to 6. 1010.5 on the bar, 80% cloud cover. Looks like it might be thinning out in the mooring field there. Somebody sent me a lovely picture. I must find it. I'm a bit behind putting pictures on the website, but there was a picture at sunset of the boats in Muscat Cove. Ooh, and they changed the zinc prop, so he's been busy. Good for you, Randall. All right, I am going to pass the microphone to David because I know he has a lot of weather, and the sooner we get onto it, the sooner I can read some of these emails that have just come in. The sale mail stuff seems to be quite slow at coming in. Often they hold at the different stations, they hold emails and then put them all on at once. So I've just had some come in. So I'll have a look at those and then we'll get back to you after David has finished. Here is the weather, David.
You did it again. You used that word. Well, boy, a lot to talk about here. So good morning to you all. We'll get down to the synoptic picture now. We've got yachts very near New Zealand, and they're going to be engaging the next cold front at the moment. It's here now. It's here over Gulf Harbour Radio. The edge actually was over northern New Zealand last night.
Yeah, rained at night.
7, 8 o'clock at night was the edge, and then the rain came down pretty good. The winds were northwest, then shifted to southwest in the wee hours here this morning. And they possibly could get up to the 25 knot range, although they haven't done so here at the moment. But they'll ease tomorrow. I would say about 15 knots, still out of the southwest. Now another front is behind this one, and it will be arriving probably late tomorrow into Thursday. Not much in it at all. But I'm guessing westerlies turning southwest, and they could be in the 20 to 25 knot range. Now it's important to note, switching gears slightly, that we have 2 anticyclones in play. Now, you heard me yesterday, I hope, where I mentioned this. I explained the difficulties when we had two of them together like that. I recommended that the boats in Minerva wait, but apparently many of them did not wait, so they will enjoy the trough that's coming. Anyhow, one of these highs is near 30,170 west. The other one's near 30 and 155 east. Those are the centers. Now, flows from these two highs meet and clash around 175 east. Now, this clashing is what creates the trough, and that runs up and down 175 east. Now, the trough is also going to sync with the cold front that's over New Zealand. It may not be much of a cold front, but it all comes together to make the trough a little more active. Now, on Wednesday, tomorrow, this trough is going to be running pretty much up and down the date line, maybe a little bit east of that. So the date line to about 175 west. Now, this means east of this axis, the winds are going to be northerly quadrant. West of the axis, they're going to be southerly quadrant. Now, this trough is obviously going to affect Minerva Reef, and the yachts there could expect a 180-degree wind shift over time. Now, needless to say, a wind shift in a crowded anchorage, that pretty much equates to havoc. So hopefully you've had time to think about spreading out a wee bit. Now, the models, the key models, GFS and ECNWF, they are still a wee bit in disagreement. They agree on the trough. In fact, UK Met is picking up the trough, as is CMC and JMA. So no problem there. There's the trough. It's going to happen. It's starting to happen now. But EC is creating a low within the trough, actually two lows. One is over Tonga, actually Fiji first, and then it slides over to Tonga. Late Wednesday for Fiji, early Thursday for Tonga. And then another one to the south, that's near 30 and 175 west. Now, GFS, UK Met, and the other couple of models that I look at, they also pick up the southern low, as a few of you have also done, looking at your grids, which is good for you. Now, finally, the northern low, Thursday morning is going to be out at about 165 west. Now, the southern low is going to extend a frontal band to Tonga around lunchtime on Thursday. And that band is going to, well, it's going to annoy Tonga for sure, but the low that it's attached to is going to move off in an eastward style direction, so it's going to get out of the way, which is what we want to see. Now, what does this do for New Zealand arrival, if anyone goes, and I guess a bunch have? That still favors the 6th of November, preferably the 5th, when shortly after the next front and depression rolls over New Zealand. And that's going to be followed by southerlies as the next high pushes into the Tasman. Should you miss this date, the next one to arrive is around 9 November, which I think is a Saturday, after which the next front arrives in New Zealand. So as you can see, they're coming right, left, and Sunday here. Now, there are a lot of headwinds should the Tongans or Fijians or even the Minervans left or decide to leave, even Thursday. Now, not as bad for those folks in New Caledonia, but Sunday, Monday, that's the 3rd and the 4th, near New Zealand, we're going to see some nice light and variable air, and that's really from Norfolk Island to New Zealand. So it's going to be quite nice if you can put up with some of these headwinds once you get far enough south. Now, the Minervans, we'll chat there. You could leave Thursday or Friday. Friday might be slightly better. You'll be leaving on southerlies, give or take about 15 to 20. Probably favoring 20 knots on Thursday, a little bit later on Friday. Now, it's going to slowly improve the further south that you get. The trough will be gone. So from 30 south to New Zealand, it actually will improve greatly. It's light air, actually, quite light air. Mostly easterlies from about Saturday onward. Tuesday, Wednesday, you'll be looking at northerly quadrant winds near North Cape. So that's not too bad at all. If you folks want to leave it again, Thursday or Friday, and maybe Friday is better. A little bit calmer, a little bit less wind. Now, those who choose to stay up in the islands may look at Saturday, the 2nd of November, for the next attempt for New Zealand. Not bad departure weather, about 15 knots or so, easterlies near New Caledonia, southeasterlies in the Fiji area. Now, what threw the monkey wrench into this current window, we thought we were going to have a brilliant window, was this extended trough running north-south near the dateline and then continuing east. It altered the oncoming high. It altered their isobar. So instead of a nice curve and a nice ridge giving us excellent southeasterlies, we get southerlies because the isobars didn't bend. They decided to go almost north-south as well. And that's just simply bad luck. It's bad luck that the two controlling highs, the eastern and the western, came together right at that point. They were a little bit faster, and they came together a little bit to the east. We wouldn't be having this discussion. The passage would have been as good as gold. But that didn't happen. So you can see the models, they didn't really pick up this trough. They did show the two highs, and we all know that when the two highs come together, you are going to get some kind of a trough. But this trough looks a little bit more aggressive than what we thought. So in spite of the models not pointing it out, the synoptic charts pointed out the high's proximity. So that should have told you that there will be a trough there. In fact, we talked about troughs between two highs a number of times. But anyway, that's history. So to summarize this week, I guess, the voyage to New Zealand, New Cal or Vanuatu is still achievable, arriving early Wednesday the 6th or before, better the 5th. Leaving from Fiji or Tonga, boy, a lot of headwinds. You've got to wait until this trough clears the area. The headwinds will continue on until Saturday. Then they're going to start to become southeasterlies. And still your arrival should be the 6th if you could do it. Now, I can see just by looking at some of these, some of the models really go out. They're not very reliable, but I can look out quite a bit into the future. And I see the overall weather changing for November. Many of the depressions are going to stay quite a bit south. They'll be clipping northern New Zealand, of course. We'll have cyclonic winds up here at Gulf Harbor Radio and also up in Opua and whatnot. But the main lows are going to be to the south of us, and then they quickly move on. And there are any number of departure dates that are coming up. So one strategy for those of you that are still up there in the islands is to pick one of these nice little departure points. Go slow after a nice departure. Let the 2 or so depressions pass New Zealand and arrive just as a high is over and departing New Zealand, picking up the nice northerly quadrant winds from the high. Weather en route for much of November looks mediocre, not bad, really. So you'd have a mix of some light headwinds, maybe moderate, light to moderate, but not bad. And then light and variable areas in between that. And I would suggest a few extra cans of diesel just in case. You might have to run the motor a little bit more than what you figured. Now the Minervans can try for Friday, as I said earlier. A wee bit uncomfortable at first, but it's going to get much better after passing 30 south. So you're at around 24 south, getting to 30 south, 4 degrees. That's a day and a half to 2 days of sailing. You get past 30. Once you do that, then everything mellows out considerably. It's very good for arrival. Probably the 5th. You should make it by the 5th, Wednesday. That's a total of 6 days, and that's plenty of time for Minerva to New Zealand. More than enough time for the average yacht. So you may want to think about that, waiting until Friday, making sure that the trough is out of your way, and go from there. Okay, well that's an awful lot to digest. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to give a very, very quick rundown on weather at the islands. So Tonga is in for, well, a lot of strong wind up there and isolated heavy rain, maybe not so isolated in some places. Tonga Met has got warnings out for strong winds and heavy rain as well. East to southeast winds 15 to 20, rising 20 to 25 at times, and all this is for Tonga Met. Swells 2.5 meters out there in the open water. Now tomorrow, I see 20 to 25 out of the northeast and back into northerlies and then becoming northwesterlies, maybe even 25 to 30. And I see a very good chance of cyclonic winds on Wednesday for Tonga. Now, Tonga Met is not saying this. This is me saying this. Then there will be a shift to southerlies in the 20 knot range by Thursday. So that cyclonic bit will come, will go, and then you'll have your southerlies come Thursday. Wet Fiji, a trough since yesterday, basically the northern bits of Fiji. But anyway, it's sliding over the group. A heavy rain warning is in force for Vanua-Levu, Taveuni, and surrounds, just like it was yesterday. The rest of Fiji is going to see plenty of cloud and showers. Now, there is a strong wind warning in force by Fiji Met for the Asawa and Mamanuca waters, southwest Viti-Levu, Kindavu Passage, Viti-Ra Passage, the Lao waters, Koro Sea. That's virtually everywhere in Fiji. They're flowing east to southeast 20 to 25, gusting up to 30. And then they say the rest of Fiji, if there is a rest, easterlies 15 to 20. There is no mention of cyclonic winds from Fiji Met, but I am picking them up Wednesday. So I do see circular flow. I don't see any isobars that have been put in place by any of the Met services for Wednesday, but I am seeing some circular winds, so there probably should be an isobar. Anyhow, Vanuatu, scattered cloud on imagery, possible showers for Bougainville, Port Vila, maybe even Lenikai. Southeast winds 20 to 25, and seas are up there too, 2.5 meters. That's out in open water. And fresh winds tomorrow, southeast to southeast, 20 to 25 knots. So that high to the south is, the perimeter of that high is giving us a pretty good surge of wind. New Caledonia now, scattered cloud, not bad at all on imagery, southeast 15 to 20. In the lagoon, tomorrow, about the same, south-southeast to southeast, 15 to 20. And a good chance of showers tomorrow. So I'll give you the actuals for this morning. The Outer Reef, southeast 14, and Ile de Pan was southeast 7, and Noumea was flowing east-southeast 5 to 12. So not bad for Noumea. So that's it, folks. A lot to digest. I'll look at those emails that came in this morning, as Patricia said. I do most of this preparation. I do a little bit of it at night, but I do 3/4 of it in the morning, and I don't have time to look at those emails that come in on the morning of the net. So if you have a question for me, you got to get it in the afternoon before. Otherwise, I just can't get to it. But I will look at them sometime today, and we'll get back to you. I may have answered quite a few of your questions today. Patricia did give me a rundown of what was asked, but I don't remember what I heard. So anyhow, I'll give it over to the chief.
Having said he doesn't have time to get into questions, he does, of course, look at the actual reports for the conditions to make sure that what he's got is the same as what you've got. And we certainly appreciate those. Actually, you've been pretty spot on with the models, haven't you? You've been quite happy with what the reports, the agreement between them, and certainly that's been good. Freedom Song, for those that are following Gary's trip, he comes in on the Hamnet, which is in, let me see, an hour and a half's time on Net Controller today on 14315, 2100 UTC. He should be at about 28 degrees today, although he was becalmed yesterday. Somebody did ask what manoeuvre is like in strong winds. Well, I tell you what, there have been many occasions where people have weathered some very, very strong winds.
There you go.
It's into the gale force area and have not had a problem. You can make sure, of course, you're well dug in and well spaced, as David mentioned, but it's certainly not too bad a place for a gale. Certainly make sure your dinghy is well secured on board. Okay, is there anybody? We don't seem to be copying anyone too well this morning, and I've noticed this is of interest to me. I was moaning about my higher SWR, and I was going to get up on the roof yesterday, but I just ran out of pupu, didn't do it, and just as well I didn't, because it's fine today, which goes to show that there must be a connection up there that's affected by the wind, because the couple of days of windy conditions have given me a bit of a problem. But it's the old adage, you do nothing for a while, have a cup of tea, and it sorts itself out. Okay, is there anybody? I think we've covered, there were questions on that trough, and I think what David has talked about will give you a good idea. And, well, not too many options, actually, as to what you do. You're just going to have to deal with it.
I don't know why they left it.
He doesn't know why you left, to have to deal with it, but that's your choice. So now you have to pay the piper. Is there any questions from anybody? Please call.
Somebody.
Yes, I've got somebody there. It's Adivar or something like that. Go ahead. Yes, that's you. Go ahead. Yes, the window on November the 6th is open. It's a better, cleaner window on November the 5th. November the 5th is the first choice. November the 6th is the second choice. It's okay. You'll deal with it. Over. What's that? Say again. No window on the 7th. There is no window on the 7th. So, yes, just crack the whip and do what you can for the 5th. If not the 5th, the 6th.
Or hold back.
Or adjust things to wait it out. Over. All right, got that through. I'm going to pass the microphone for a bit more.
Right, those of you that aren't going to make the 5th and just don't want to arrive when there is a funnel ban, just stop. Let it go by. There'll be a couple of days before the next one. You might be able to squeeze in there. If that doesn't work, you can get the next one. They seem to be coming, and there's one, two, there's three of them almost in a row. So you can attempt to do that if possible. Without, we don't want you to break something just to get there on the 5th. That doesn't make any sense. So if you actually can't make it, then just slow down and let it go by. That's the only suggestion. We don't give advice here, but that's what we would do. We would just slow the boat down, get a good book. Champagne?
No.
Champagne. A good
Not
book.
till you get there.
And go from there. There's a chief.
Okay, so we'll see what happens there. Anybody else? Any relays? And is there anybody that could put out a call for boats that I cannot copy? Goodness, I think there was somebody there, but the conditions are pretty grim today. I hope 20 metres is better. If there was somebody there, I'm not going to be able to even copy you, so I don't even know who it is. Try again. Well, folks, I've got no copy here, so what I'm going to do is pull out. I'll be sitting, listening for a bit in case conditions do get better, but it looks like we could do with a bit of a report on whether conditions now might be better for us to go back to a little bit later. But anyway, give us a report if you can on how you're hearing things from the various places that you are in. And I will leave the frequency to you guys, and we will be standing by for a bit, and otherwise we will be back again tomorrow morning. Enjoy your day and stay safe. This is Patricia and David, and we are clear. All the conditions are absolutely shocking. I've got a good copy on you. What boat was it, over? Okay, our email address is ghradio, all run together, G for golf, H for harbour, radio, ghradio at extra, which is XTRA, X-ray, Tango, Romeo, Alpha, extra, .co.nz. So ghradio@extra.co.nz, and thank you for the relay. I've got really good copy on you, so at least somebody is coming in. I'm going to turn streaming off now.